As I said, while I work as mainly on public outreach, I still want to do observing. I still want to do research, and from time to time, some pretty pictures. And the problem here is that I live quite far away from the observatory, and sometimes, as you know, it's very hard to find a match between your schedule and your free time. So I decided to go remotely with a few telescopes, and what I have now at my observatory, which is located in Ceccano, in central Italy, 100 kilometers south of Rome. I have these two telescopes now, and as I said, I'm really near to include the other system. You should recognize this kind of stuff here. There are two different telescopes, and I want to show you a bit of details about them. They share the same mount, the Paramount M-High, the big one from Software Bisque, you know, and I'm very happy with this, really. I find this system very reliable. Some data are available here. These are real ones I measured on my system, so these are giving you an idea about I would say the specifications of this unit. This one is at this very moment the biggest one, because it has a very nice aperture, you see, 17 inches, and this is a very nice telescope to get a lot of light in very fast, because you see it is a quite fast system, 6.3, and it has also some filters for narrow band imaging, for tricolor imagery, and also I always leave an empty position on my systems, because when I have to go faint, the best thing to do is to go unfiltered. If I have to take very time resolved photometry, I have to take very short exposures, and I need all those precious photons. So this is why you will always find a free hole in my wheel.
How come you're not using the photometry filters, the VVGRI?
Yes, the photometry filters are on the other unit. I decided to, I would say, to keep the most flexible system. I mean, some things are better on one system, and other things are better on the other ones. I still do photometry with this, with the empty position, when I have to find, for example, periods inside a new variable star, a new cataclysmic systems, and you can go unfiltered without troubles. But the other system has, of course, the standard photometric filters. And the good thing is the telescopes are always available. They are sleeping, and in a time from 1 to 3 minutes, they can be fully operational. Sometimes it happened that I was having a pizza with my friends somewhere in Italy. Some people from Japan called me, because I work like a doctor at, sometimes this happens, and they called me to say that a very strange new object was really behaving crazy. And I went outside in my car, I took my laptop in the rear of the car, and in a few minutes I was doing science while eating pizza. My friends didn't know that I was doing this, because they didn't see that I was just doing these things. Just started the system and it was working alone. This is the other, I would call it the photometric unit. Let me say that the previous telescope is unmatched as for the image quality. It has a very large correct field of view. It is simply a telescope I love. This one is a telescope I have to say thank you for the many science I did with this. I cannot count the scientific discoveries I did with this one. And this is optimized, as Tim properly taught, on photometry, scientific photometry. You still have some narrow band stuff here, even tricolor imagery. There is also a slow resolution reticle, after also some discussions with Tom, by the way, the speaker who introduced the spectroscope here. And once again, this one is ready in very few minutes. The systems are always available. You can enter the general interface, you can give power to what you like, because of course you have no power right now at the system. This for safety reasons. But I can just decide which part of the system turn on, and it will be on in a few minutes. I can open the roof, I can close it. Of course, I have everything to monitor this. because, as I say, this is quite far from my home. Here it is a picture I did while setting up the new telescope, and you can guess the weight of the system, as each of these is 9 kilograms, so quite heavy, but it is, of course, well balanced. This is the systems, the software I use for controlling this, and I think that you know this very well, because they are very common, especially to Paramount trained people. This is the Sky, not the very last version, but I find this enough for me. And this is, of course, the other software controlling the CCD camera. And I love the way this software shares information so that finally you have a file saved with everything you need for future references. And I'm lucky enough to live in a place where while the sky is not like here at Mauna Kea, I can still see a lot of things, and basically I have a wonderful seeing. My typical seeing is 1.6 arc seconds. I go relatively often to 1 arc seconds. I always have better than 2 arc seconds. And I think that this image is quite enough for you without any ambition to show the image of the century, but I think that this can still demonstrate what the seeing at our observing site can do. This one was done with the 14 Celestron tube. Also this one, they are just, I would say, just to show the resolution, the capability of the observing site. And I'm still crazy enough to think to put there a planetary telescope, but unfortunately my surname is not Rockefeller, and I still have to find money for this, but hope is the last to die. And here it is, a very nice image I did with the plane wave 17 inches. This is only part of the image, but I wanted to leave it at the natural scale because I wanted to see you the image resolution. This is Messier 13, and this one is really a really nice object, you know. This is another great image, once again with the 17 inches telescope. And I want to say that as I'm not mainly an astrophotographer, I generally take 5-minute long exposure, completely unguided. I do not have another guider on these systems. I just trust the system, and they can work for several minutes at this scale, 0.6 arc seconds per pixel, and they guide beautifully. Then I just sum the images, and this is what I can take. Of course, if I take longer exposures, I need another guider, and I would have, of course, by far better results than this, but I'm happy. I think that in your life, the best thing to look for is your happiness. No? You are not running, but we are just trying to be happy. And if you are happy, you are a lucky guy. It is not so easy, but sometimes it happens. This is the Crescent Nebula done with an H-alpha filter with a full moon, and I just wanted to play. It was a bet with a friend of mine, by the way, and it was funny to see that the system, of course, thanks to narrowband filters, can perform this way, even at full moon. In the ancient days, the full moon was a lucky friend. You go to sleep, you're welcome. But now, if you want, you can work all the time, and sometimes it is so hard. Here it is where the system has proved to be wonderful, because, of course, asteroids are one of my scientific interests, and when one of these near-Earth objects approaches, I'm always ready to do astrometry, photometry, for example, but also to offer to the public a glimpse to what is happening there. So I will tell how I do this, but still I find interesting to see how an asteroid can move fast to leave such a long trail in 1-2 minutes, for example. Here it is, a very nice movie. This one, I must admit, made the trip, full trip around the globe. A lot of media asked me for this movie, as the Paramount was asked to track the very proper motion of the asteroid, and you can see how it mastered this. This one was really flying. These pictures were taken after a handful of seconds back to back, so you can really see how hard it was. Of course, these systems can track the International Space Station or even faster targets, but to see them working on such asteroids is, for me, fantastic. Of course, here is my perfect English. Of course, I want also to show you what I do with this system. I do research, and my fields of interest are mainly photometric ones. I love measuring brightness. That is my fault, I don't know. But I really like to measure how much light comes from a target and why. And how and why that light varies. I still find that with such a very cheap technique, photometry is quite cheap today with the right software, the right tools, you can discover a three-dimensional structure of something which is a pinpoint at your telescope. You know, the geometry, the classical geometry say that a point is the expression of nothing. You cannot measure a point. But if you measure the light of the point over the time, you can, for example, model the shape of an asteroid. You can see it in the three-dimensional structures thanks to measure of brightness. I find this fantastic. So asteroids and comets are something I love to study. Also variable star, today this is my main interest, and also exoplanets. You know, you can now do a lot of science in this field with your own telescope. And sometimes people do not know that this science is very well within this possibility. And I spend a lot of time trying to discuss with amateurs to tell them, please, if you want, try science. Do not believe the science is so far away from you. So have fun with your images, but from time to time. Why? You do not observe another world around another sun. And if you try this, you will feel a very, very strong and fantastic emotion. I must say that over the years, we did some breathtaking discoveries. We have published some of our discoveries to Nature, just to tell you the level of some of this work thanks to this very flexible system. We co-discovered 2 exoplanets. We discovered a lot of asteroids. I don't remember the numbers. And also, we have been able to discover the nature of many cataclysmic variable stars. And over the last year, the 2011, the Virtual Telescope facility has been the most active in the world, just unveiling the nature of these critical astrophysical targets. Because as soon as I receive an alert, I can start in 3 minutes doing photometry. And while people is still wondering what to do, I just have the light curve, the period, the characteristic of the system reading. This is at least a strong benefit from science. And we are, of course, ready to start also a supernova search because we want to increase the menu of our typical food. But approaching the end of this presentation, I want to say what is taking, I would say, the largest part of my time today, and I'm very happy that this is happening, because the Virtual Telescope started as a dream of mine, and I discovered that the Virtual Telescope is now the dream of a lot of people all around the globe, because I started to use the system for myself. But I discovered that it was possible for me to share images in real time over the internet, providing a commentary, a live commentary about what we were saying. And I discovered that a lot of people from the very far east to the very far west were really, really ready to take benefits from this. In 5 years, I started the Virtual Telescope project in 2006. We hosted 1 million viewers from about 200 centuries. United Nations recognized 209 governments. So I would say that the Virtual Telescope has reached almost the full globe. When I look at the statistics, I see a lot of friends from the America, from Europe, but when I see someone, for example, from Angola, I am even more happy because you can easily understand how important it is to reach those places. And we are now working also to bring the experience of the sky where the telescopes cannot enter. For example, hospitals, prisons, or growing countries. I have found that a computer connected to the internet is more common than a very advanced telescope. So people from growing countries sometimes use our telescope, and they can experience the job of the astronomer without having the astronomical technologies. And I want to say one thing. We do not have any public contribution. All these things, I would say 90% was done because the guy you have in front of you is a crazy one who decided to spend his own money to this. But of course, to survive, we have people donating something to help when they like what we do, or just if they like our goals, they contribute this way. We do 99% of our activities for free on volunteer basis. We offer the telescopes to single users who want to take their own images, and in those cases, we require a small fee to survive. I want to underline that it is not a commercial facility. We really want to make the experience of the sky something possible for everybody. As you may have noted at the beginning, I am part of the Astronomers Without Borders organization. Their motto is one people, one sky. I think that this is enough to understand the goal. And next April will be the Global Astronomy Month, and it will be officially launched with the fourth edition of the online Messier Marathon. If you would like to join this remotely, of course, please believe me, nothing is better than you under the real sky. This is something I will always say. Remote technology is just a benefit, an addition, not a change to be done. So if you will have nothing to do on the 1st of April, if your sky will be cloudy, you are very welcome to join us here. And I hope that this way you will discover what 1 million of persons discovered so far, that is, that they can meet, have fun under the stars, even through a computer. Thank you very much.
Do you have any plans to take the website so that it's mobile compatible?
Sorry.
Do you have any plans to make the site compatible with mobile devices?
So there's like phones or iPads.
iPads? Oh, so I apologize. We are working on this because a lot of people asked to have, I would say, such access, because now if you look at in your pockets, you will find that device, not a laptop. I have not pockets big enough for this, of course. But we are developing also some applications for this. But it will take some time because I have to say that as the economical resources are limited, right, I have to do this basically myself. So I cannot do everything. Sometimes I have to study to learn how to do one thing, and when I start doing the thing, I do a terrible work. So I have to improve, I have to fail to understand. But we are working, and luckily we are also growing a bit, and I believe that the virtual telescope will serve astronomy to the community for many years to come, at least I hope.
When you get on the website, are you looking at you or somebody else controlling the telescope, or can you schedule time in the future where you can control the project yourself?
Well, of course, you have to book for using the telescope. And of course, this is just to avoid that another user is going to take the telescope when you are using it. This is why I actually installed two different systems, because at some point I discovered that I didn't have my telescope anymore because people was using it. Where is my telescope? So also, thanks with an important sponsor we have in Italy who helped us to reach that technology. And we were able to put two independent telescopes. They can be used by different users or by a single user anyway. But mainly I am happy because if someone is using one unit, I can still do astronomy with the other ones. So basically you have to schedule, you have to book your time, the length of your session, and if the sky is good, you will be observing. If the sky, of course, for any reason is bad, if there are troubles of any kind, of course, your session will be cancelled and you can, okay, apply for another session.
When you book it, you pay, is there a charge for the booking? Is that how it works, or can you pay online?
Yes, yes. I must say that I am always a bit embarrassed when talking about money because, I mean, this is not commercial. But at some point, we have to decide how to keep this alive because we are offering this really, I cannot count to date how many communities are using the system for free. When I can, I give the system for free. But every month I receive bills and they are not free. And if you want, you will learn, you can find more at that address. And we are just working on a new site. If you go there now, you will find a quite old style site because I did it myself. And I apologize for this. But I wish to thank you for attending this talk. I wish to thank once again the people who organized this amazing star party. It is my first time in Florida, and I think that I will be forever indebted with him because he has shown me something I've been dreaming for a lifetime. Last night, he showed me Sirius B. I really, with these fine telescopes, I was able to see something I was not sure I was going to see in my life. Thank you, Tim. Thank you also for your kind hospitality. Thank you so much.